All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started.
Good morning.
Welcome, as always, to 1 Million Cups Westminster. We are here live at Startup Portal, right off of 140 in Westminster. Thank you to Rick Weinbach for letting us use the space. Also, thank you to American Ice Company for the coffee and Jeannie Birds for the baked goods to help us get going this morning. I know we are all really eager to hear from today's presenter, and we had a great time hearing from last week's presenter, Conectando Us. But before we jump in, I'm going to go over what we are all about here at 1MC. So the mission of 1MC is to lower the barrier for access to education, resources, and connections for entrepreneurs. Without all of you here and our core pillars, we cannot accomplish this mission. So we're looking for presentations, not pitches, connection, not networking. We're really for the community and by the community. We really want to get to know your business and all the challenges that you face so that we can connect you to all the great resources we have here. Nobody has ownership of 1MC Westminster. Nobody is paid to do 1MC Westminster, and we are radically intentionally inclusive. We're always looking for like-minded people to help us connect and build up the community. So we meet every week, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. We also are on YouTube. If you want to catch it after the fact, please like and subscribe. We have two presenters whenever possible. Presenters' organization should be less than 5 years old and willing to ask for help, because we always end with, what can we as a community do to help you? So here's our organizing team: Graham Dodge, Chris Abel, Vicki Slinkman, John Wheatman, Tina Thomas, myself, Julius Knapp, and Gabby Rose. And with that, I will hand it over to Rob Park with the power of facing.
All right, hold on, let me just get the screen sharing turned off. Looks like we're okay there. Hey, Rob.
You good to go?
You are good to go. It's all you.
Cool. Is this everyone who's watching this, or is this streamed, or
It's also streamed on Facebook.
What's that?
It's also streamed on Facebook.
Okay, cool, right on. So yeah, hey everyone, I'm Rob. That little intro to 1 Million Cups was my first exposure to what exactly 1 Million Cups is. I'm kind of very, very new to this whole thing. I was referred by Rick Weinbach, and he's kind of like, hey, you want to present in a day and a half? And I'm like, okay, sure. So here we are. Yeah. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for hearing me out. And I guess I'll kind of just give a little overview of what my business is, and we'll just go from there, I guess. So a little background as to how it became a thing. So let's go back like 3 years ago, right at the start of COVID. I was part of this religion, and I found out a lot of things about it that didn't sit well with me. And I kind of found out that it was not really completely true. And I sort of had this whole existential crisis. And I decided I was going to just get out of America for a while, go abroad and kind of collect my thoughts and figure out what life was like about. So I went to Indonesia for pretty much the duration of the whole pandemic thing. And I was there just trying to figure out like what's going on being on this planet, trying to tackle those big questions. And I sort of realized making up your own meaning is the ultimate thing that you can do as a person. So I was like, if I'm going to be here, I kind of want to do something meaningful. I want to do something profitable, something worthwhile, but also something that's sustainable and ultimately just helpful to the world. So I kind of took my own problems and thought, okay, how can I solve this? And I made a sort of curriculum based on that. And that's what the power of facing is. It started off as just a couple little worksheets that I use myself to organize my thoughts around relevant topics in my life, like needs, fears, motivations, goals. Basically, I kind of wanted to create a curriculum that was more relevant than what most school curriculums have, because I never really felt like any sort of government or private system, at least in America, really addresses any super relevant aspects of the human condition. Like the things I just mentioned, it's mostly just like, here's the quadratic formula. You're never going to use this. It's a complete waste of time. Here's some science things. It's like, if I need to know dates, I'll just Google it. Like, I have Google. We don't need that information. Like, what we need is a curriculum where the individual's specifics are addressed. So that's kind of what I wanted to make for myself. And I figured if I'm going to be successful in any other business ventures, I'm going to have to address and face myself and become the type of person that could succeed. So I'm going to have to take an inventory of who I am and then build an action plan on how to enhance every aspect of myself. So let's see here. I can share my screen, I guess, huh? And then show you the little.
This is also Rob's very first time using Zoom. I just want everyone to know that.
What's that?
I was telling everyone this is your first time using Zoom, you had said.
Yeah, first time using Zoom, so hopefully it's okay. I don't know if the lighting is good, if my framing is okay, but whatever. This is my first try, so the first draft is always the worst. Let's just put it that way. Share screen. So actually, why don't I just go to the website? Sorry, hold on, guys.
That's good. You can use that, yeah.
So yeah, like I said, this workbook is basically a curriculum that I made for myself to improve all relevant aspects of my life, and then I just made it into a thing so other people could use it too. Because I always wanted to do entrepreneurship stuff, and I always didn't know if I was the type of person that could succeed in that. And so I kind of wanted to just become the type of person that could get an investor, that could succeed, that could be confident. And I figured this was how I was going to be able to do that. So I just made it available to other people like me. Go in here, check it out. Yeah, so all the graphics and stuff I made this whole thing like last month. And yeah, there's kind of a little explanation here. It's a workbook and methodology focusing on materializing thoughts and goals to which we can assign simple actionable tasks. That's the whole idea, pretty much taking an inventory of your whole world, putting it down on paper so you can see it from a bird's eye view, so you can see it objectively and go, oh, this is what I'm working with myself as a person. Because you can't really manage what you can't measure. So if you take a complete inventory of yourself, your goals, your fears, disciplines, motivations, priorities, all your accounts, just everything on paper, you can kind of get an idea on what you're working with and then make an action plan to enhance all of those areas. So it's kind of like a little fast track to self-mastery or something like that, I guess you would say. And yeah, so I have the workbook here. It's all digital, so someone can just buy this and they have all the worksheets they can go through, kind of take an inventory of their life, and that's like $20. It's all digital, so they can print it themselves. And then I have I do graphic design and photography. That's my background, so I made some like inspirational reminder, like phone screen backgrounds, and you can all buy this stuff. It's all ready to go. I also have some friends and family here for the affiliate team. So anyone can go on here, sign up, it'll generate a link. And if you share that link and someone uses that link to buy, I'll give, that person half of whatever the amount is that they sell, basically. So split the profits. That's my sister. And there's a little about story. And yeah, go into the shop. And you can buy just individual items. I made a bunch of worksheets, just different areas of life, environment, how you're going to invest in yourself, your influence, moral code, values, your routine, prioritization exercises, network. You can click on these and get a better idea of what it is. So, yeah, that's kind of the general idea of the whole thing. Is it kind of makes sense as to where my head was at with this?
Well, yeah, so we can open it up to questions, and that I think will help guide the conversation here. So,
Yeah.
well, you shared that shop page and you had individual worksheets. Are those worksheets part of the full $20 book?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you don't have to buy the $20 book. If you want, you can just buy individual sort of chapters or worksheets within it.
Yeah, exactly. And I have like some little promo codes, like 50% off. So I haven't even technically officially launched, like done a launch for the website yet. I'm going to, but I'm going to put out like big discount codes and stuff. And it's all digital. So now that all the work is done, like I could give away stuff for free, and it's, it doesn't cost me anything. So I'm happy to like just make it cheap and available for people. So yeah, you can buy individual ones or just the whole thing. So
Anybody else have questions or comments?
Larry in the back.
Larry, go ahead.
Two things. One, there are a lot of people out there like this, offering similar philosophies, etc.
Yeah.
So two questions. One, how do you differentiate yourself from all the others in that space? And two, what's your marketing plan to introduce this to whatever you think the market is?
Yeah. As far as differentiating myself, I haven't seen, there's so much stuff out there. Everything's been done a million different times. I guess just making it my own unique style. And you can see from the graphics and the design and the colors and everything that is just my version of this. And so with my photography, graphic design background, I guess the style is probably one thing that could differentiate it. And then also the curation of topics are things that are specific kind of things that I focus on, things that I think are the most relevant parts of life throughout my last few years of studying. So it might not be all that different, but it has my unique spin on it. So I think of it like a coffee company, like how many different coffee companies are there? Really, at the end of the day, it's like their logo is the only thing differentiating them, and like their packaging. So it's kind of similar, I guess, but yeah, this is just my spin on it. And then for my marketing, like promotional strategy, I'm basically two things. I'm working with some influencer type people who are in the realm of entrepreneurship or therapy, and I'm basically going to them and saying, hey, if you want to generate this link, share it. I can see anyone who buys from it, and then I'll give you half of whatever that is. So it's basically just affiliate marketing. So that's one. And then there's also an option. I haven't done it yet because I just barely finished this website like a week ago. There's a multi-level marketing as well. So if those people they share it, the person above them can get a little kickback from that too. So just working with influencers, having people share it, and splitting the profits. And I guess this is a point that could be made. I originally made this when I was going to therapy, and they weren't giving me any materials. So they were just, you know, you go to a therapist and they're supposed to help you, but they don't give you any sort of materials to actually write down so you can remember all the things you're learning about. So I figured, why don't I just make a packet so that I can actually apply the things I learned? So I'm not just paying for like high quality chit chat for an hour and then I walk out the door and forget it all. Like, that's not going to work. So I've been chatting with a couple therapists and seeing what they have to think. So I'll collaborate with them and see if they want to promote it, because it helps their clients have a plan on paper that they can stick to. And so, yeah, I hope that answers those questions. Affiliate marketing, I guess.
Well, and that's a great, that's good to know that part of this developed from your therapy sessions where you realize they didn't have the materials. So that's the pain point you're trying to solve in part, is that when people go into therapists, maybe by and large or most of the time, they don't get any way to sort of transcribe their own thought. There's no materials that they're being handed, right, by the therapist. The therapist is sort of controlling the narrative in the sense that they're the ones writing everything down and they're holding that stuff, right? So you're kind of saying, hey, we're gonna provide materials that allow the person in therapy to also keep track of these things and categorize their thoughts and maybe enrich the therapy experience. And so, yeah, I think it's great that you're talking to therapists, because then you can get their input, but then also they become basically not necessarily affiliates, but they become some sort of like B2B type customer where they're buying materials from you potentially to distribute to their own clients, assuming that they like the format in which you put it all down. So that sounds like another distribution model for you other than affiliate marketing.
Yeah, that was the original one. That was actually the original thing I made it for. I was going, okay, this is for people who go to therapy so they can actually apply the principles that they learn in therapy instead of just immediately forgetting it. Because I was thinking, like, not to knock therapy or anything, but like, it's against their business model if the person is healthy. Like, they don't make money off of healthy people. So if you're going to therapy and you actually change your life and your things are going really good and you don't need to go as much, they're making hundreds or potentially thousands of dollars less. So, and I'm not going to say anything about any therapist. My therapist is pretty cool, but I'm just wondering why, like, this isn't given to people. Like, the school system doesn't give this to anyone. Like it doesn't, it's not in any system's best interest to help the person like reach self-mastery and be introspective and solve their own problems and give them the tools to help themselves and all that stuff. It's like, so I figure I'll just make it myself because I wanted it to exist. No one was giving it to me. So I just wanted to scratch my own itch. But yeah, the therapy originally was the first thing, and then it kind of grew, and I figured, oh well, this could be used outside of the therapy realm, and maybe entrepreneurs could even, you know, use it to enhance themselves so that they can maybe get an investor, because an investor is looking at the business, but they're also betting on the person. It's like, I think probably 50% maybe, you know, some investors are going to look at the business side, the numbers only, and then some are going to look at just the passion of the person. But you can't really neglect, you can do the business and have a good business plan, but you can't neglect yourself. And they're going to notice if you have stuff in your personal life that's not really sitting well, not going well, like they want to see that too. So an entrepreneur could do both aspects. There's a lot of resources for the business, but this is like the personal side. So it sort of fits in this area, if that makes sense.
Very good question for you.
And so do you see yourself actually providing services? As if I complete the packet and I sit down and say, okay, I got it all down. Now what? Right? Do you see yourself offering services or pushing it down to other professionals to help guide people once they gotta write it on paper?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. And I think there's a lot of opportunities for expansion in that way. I I mean, I'm still just kind of finishing this, so I'm thinking of other avenues as to what else I can provide to expound upon this. And again, originally it was like, you take this to your therapist basically and let them help you do that. So that's the core of it. But I also wanted to do offer like video series. So I don't know if I can connect, like, I don't know if I have the people or resources to connect individuals with other individuals, like on a mass scale. Actually, well, this is a topic for another thing. I designed an app where that is the case, and I couldn't get the funding for it because of the personal thing that I mentioned. That's why I made this also. So that's a different topic, but yeah, there's ways to expound upon it. And I think I'd want to do a video series, make that available for like, you know, $10, you get like 10 different interviews, and I have some videography background too. So I'll do the best I can to help people take the packet and do something with it. But I do think there's value in just having a look at yourself objectively without even necessarily doing anything with it. I mean, there are parts where you kind of decide for yourself what you want to do with, okay, so here's your fear. What do you want to do with it? So you write that down so you have an action plan. But in the future, yeah, I want to kind of branch out and do something bigger with that.
Anybody else have any questions for Rob?
We have one question on Facebook from Tina Thomas of the Infinite Love Project. Why did you choose Go After Grow for your affiliate engine?
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I don't have the best speakers.
Why did you choose Go After Grow for your affiliate engine?
It was what's available. It was just, I looked into a couple, and I didn't really know. I'm still learning about the affiliate engine. I didn't even really know it was a thing, but I tested it out. I talked to the support. The support team was really cool. They emailed me back like within a day. They wrote me a paragraph. They have been super helpful, and it seems to work pretty well. So until I find something better, that's pretty much just a working option that has been pretty cool so far.
Have you considered being putting yourself forward more as the, you know, like a lot of these programs that I've seen, whether it's like a diet type thing, like who's the bulletproof coffee guy? I don't know his name. But like he kind of built himself up as the sort of example, right, of his practices at work.
Yeah.
On your website, I don't see a lot about as much about you and about how it has affected your life, unless it's just we're not seeing it yet. But you've mentioned religion, and I'm wondering if there might be more transparency that you could dig into to kind of get people to relate to you more.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest weak points. I'm like I value privacy a lot. And so it's kind of hard for me to, like, you know, put myself out there and be super transparent sometimes and share my story, mostly because I figure there's, you know, hundreds of millions of people all yelling at the same time online. So like, who wants to hear from me, you know? But I'm trying to get better at that. And I do have this little snippet here of kind of like, you know, what the context is of this website and this packet. And then you can click it, and then I have a little bit more on here just about where this is coming from, the story behind it. It's not much, but it just kind of gives a little bit of context. So I'm still working on that. And my sister's kind of been helping me too, like, hey, you got to like put it out there and share your story and all that stuff. And so it's a work in progress. Yeah. I think about that too.
And likewise, with any of your current affiliates, if any of them have testimonials, or, you know, in terms of how your curriculum worksheets have helped, I think that's another powerful way to kind of build trust quickly with people through those testimonials. And then I would even recommend maybe making some of the worksheets available for free just to get started, almost like, you know, taking the sort of the open source tact of, you know, putting it out there, let it get traction, and then monetize it later, you know, or you know, build up that sort of audience first,
Right.
and then monetize it with something else like a book, or monetize it with
The full version, something like
like
that.
a freemium model. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you can use it as gated content where somebody has to provide at least some contact information. You give them a little snippet and then you have their information to be able to market to them in the future, your full offering.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've been kind of thinking about that too. I just haven't really decided on exactly the best strategy to go about it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to start. I'll start with Instagram because it's just easy to do because I can make an Instagram post in like 5 minutes and I can just bust those out a lot. So I'll just put a lot of free information on there and basically have a page where I'm just sharing relevant, free, useful information and some exercises and kind of get people following it a little bit. And then say, hey, if you want the full thing, you know, hop over to the website. It's $20. Here's, you know, 30% off for a code. So I'll definitely start doing that. I think I'll make some stuff available for free to start. So yeah, I'll try that.
And you mentioned entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs are a good sort of beachhead, so to speak, for this, where you can maybe even tweak something specific to the entrepreneur. Say these worksheets are specifically for entrepreneurs and the problems that they face. I think that would be a good way to also go to market, is to choose that specifically as your market to start, and then expand from there.
Yeah, that's also what I had in mind when, because I actually was working on so I designed an app, like a peer-to-peer connecting app where, like, I have it designed like physically, and it's basically where you go to college, right? You pay $100,000 to not have a direct conversation with a professor. That's like insane to me. It's like, why don't I just pay the professor directly? I'll give him $1,000. He'll give me a list of books I need to read, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. So I had the business plan portion of that like completely down. I have a complete business plan. I have like a sample promo video for it. I designed the entire app, all this stuff, right? And then I realized, oh, like that's only half the equation. So half the equation is me too. Like they need to see that you have some credibility, you have a personal plan. They're betting on you too. So I would imagine other entrepreneurs are running into a similar problem when trying to get an investment, for example. They have a business plan, but the investor's like, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like a decent plan, but what about you? Like, I need to know if you're the type of person who's going to succeed with this. So that's kind of where this could be marketed to entrepreneurs in that way, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I think entrepreneur thing.
Evan Davis.
Going back to you posting stuff for free to kind of get people engaged, I think another great thing to do would be the phone background you had on your website. I even saw a blurb saying on your website like 21,000 people like open the phone 21,000 times over a year.
Yeah.
So adding your logo to the background and then putting them on Instagram for free. And now if someone's looking at your logo 21,000 times a year, so then when they're ready to, take the extra step to get further with their mental health.
Right, right.
Your logo all the time.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion. Any other questions or comments before we end with our final question? I can't see the whole. All right, so Rob, we always end with the question, what can we as a community here in Westminster do to help you?
That's a great question to end with. Honestly, like I don't need a ton of help. I guess just I don't want to say capital. I'm gonna say something else. maybe that's pretty much it. I mean, because I'm just working with, like, I'm just trying to get in touch with influencers who want to promote it, and then we split the profits, and that's just like a slow moving process. So at this time, I mean, I guess let me do this. Provide feedback. So basically I'll make I think I already have one, I have a promo code called free for fall. So if you want to go on there, everything is free. Just put free for fall, like fall time, you know, and maybe just check it out if you want and see if it seems like it's worth $20. And if not, maybe let me know why. So, you know, everything is free for anyone who's watching this video, free for fall. Just give me some feedback and let me know. My
or written out for?
like FOR, like free for fall time. Like, yeah. Hold on, let me.
Is it case sensitive?
No, it's just all lowercase, free for fall.
Well, that's a great idea. That's exactly what I think groups like 1 Million Cups are good for, especially when you're launching a business like this, is to get that feedback. So good on you for thinking of that when put on the spot, because I think this is exactly the right move, is to try to elicit as much feedback as you can at this stage.
Yeah, and so right now I've just been going to like some friends and family and going, hey, like, what do you think about this? But I would love to hear from other entrepreneurs, you guys, anyone, just kind of like first impressions. I think that's super valuable, so I can kind of make improvements and tweak it. So I'll write it out here. There we go.
All right, great.
Yeah, so there we go.
100%.
Well, thank you. Thanks for. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Judith. One last question.
I would, if I were you, I would contact people that teach social work or counseling, because if you get in with the teachers, they may actually teach it to their students who are the future counselors and therapists.
So I'm just jotting this down. So you saying social workers and teachers?
Social workers and therapists. There's like a counseling thing, and they do, we all have to take continuing education credits. So where are you located?
I'm near Santa Barbara in California.
Okay. So you would want to look up to see who teaches the continuing education credits too. Because if you can get in and just be like, hey, can I talk to your group? And that's all the current social workers. We need 40 CEUs every 2 years. Because if you can talk in front of an audience when they're teaching that course, you hit like 50 therapists at a time, potentially more.
What's the organization again that I would go to?
So social work schools, and then people like even school therapists that work in schools, professionals that do therapy. School counselors. There's so many acronyms for people that do therapy right now.
Right, yeah. Okay, cool. I wrote that down. Yeah, that's kind of that's initially what I was sort of thinking when making this. So yeah, I'll definitely check that out and see maybe there's something to make up with.
So what Judith is really suggesting is to get as far upstream as possible to where you've got all of the influences being built up through those channels by virtue of the teachers then teaching people, and then they're sharing your curriculum as they're teaching others about that kind of work. And now you are fully integrated into the whole, what do you call that? The whole ecosystem, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, stuff is as far upstream as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And are they allowed to kind of like choose what they want to like put out and teach and stuff like that, and like what they want to use, materials and stuff? Like, I kind of wonder that too.
They can have like an additional resources page. Each teacher is different, but sometimes they have like, hey, resources that we've checked out. So I would contact professors and even give them the free for fall, just, hey, I checked this out. They may, save 5 minutes in their whole entire, course. Hey, this is an option you can use in therapy. They may not go into it, but just putting your name out there.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'll definitely do
You
that.
also market this ones that are professional societies for CEUs and things like that.
That as well. So I don't know who's in California teaching CEUs. There's but I would definitely look into the people that are continuing their education. I don't know how to even look in California.
So continuing education.
It's called, yeah.
Unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
CEUs.
It's where the professionals have to take so many hours of reading an article or taking a little test afterwards to maintain themselves current, so to speak.
Right.
Instead of taking an official class, a lot of people allow to do it online.
I see.
And if you want to target, sorry, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, and can they choose what sort of, their continuation or whatever? They can choose what they want to read and get into as far as that goes, or they have like a set.
Yeah, and that they would agree that yes, yours qualifies.
I see. So CE.
Well, also, right, and also in the world of entrepreneurship, there's all the accelerator programs and incubators, and even the universities will have entrepreneurship, either clubs or they'll have some sort of programs for entrepreneurs. There's very little, not restrictions, but guidance that they get, and so they're always looking for new ways to teach and new types of materials. Like they have a lot of freedom in choosing the curriculum that they want for those programs, especially the accelerators and incubators. They'll just have you come in and talk, and then you present, your framework, sort of, so to speak.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Do you know like the name of because I nobody really in my sphere is sort of involved in like the entrepreneurship stuff that I'm like trying to do. Do you know like the name of an organization or
the three big ones are going to be, one's called Y Combinator. It's the letter Y followed by the word Combinator. And then the next one is going to be TechStars, TechStars. They're based in Boulder, but they have locations all over the country, including near UNLA.
Okay.
And then there's 500 startups. Those are the top 3 accelerator programs in the world. I would start with those 3 and then work your way down from there.
500.
But every major university and college, even our 4-year liberal arts college here in Westminster has an entrepreneurship program. So,
right. So would I just go to just go to the school or whatever and just say, hey, like wondering if I can get in touch with what would be the title of the person that you think I would?
It's going to be at every school, unfortunately. Some schools will have venture programs. Some of them, I know Notre Dame does, I know Johns Hopkins does, but generally speaking, you're going to be just Googling and searching for the word entrepreneurship.
Right.
With that,
the entrepreneurship program, or like what would be the name? I don't know what the name of the person I would be trying to reach, because they might be like, okay, who do you want to talk to? Like, do I say like?
Well, that's the challenge.
I guess I don't know.
That is the challenge. Well, and I'm happy to help you with that, and Rick and I can coordinate another follow-up call with you to discuss those kinds of tactics.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Am I going over time? What time is it actually?
Oh no, that's all right. Yeah, we're a little over time, but
okay. Well,
yeah. Thank you very much, Rob, and thank you for joining us so early in the morning in California.
Thanks for having me. I'm awake now.
On your first time.
Yeah, no, it worked out. Now I know how to use Zoom, and I'm awake, and I already had my coffee, so just gonna keep it going.
All right, give Rob a hand. Rob.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
See ya.
All right, so we're going to move on to community updates now that we have a little bit of time. We have about 20 minutes left. Does anybody have a community update that they would like to come up and share?
Do we need a GoPro from now on? Or just
Recap of last weekend.
yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, recap of Big Game Fest?
We need a GD Fest recap.
You have a place to show everything? Probably just our Slack channel, right?
Open the whole weekend. We could show it in Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Wait, that's in, I have a link in Slack, right? All right, where is it? Oh. Yeah, you get to see our personal Slack there for a second. Probably wasn't the best way to do it. All right, here we go. Oh wait, I need to close this out. Sorry. Yeah, Evan Davis did all the animation videos for us. Great job, Evan.
Cool.
So, yeah, so we did, let's see here, how do I go back to our, so I need to go back there. We did, it was a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What you saw there were the Pokemon tournament, which was that room full of people with the card game, that was Pokemon. And we actually had a guy who was a 5-time world champion competitor for Pokemon that flew in for this event. A couple people have traveled pretty great distances for this event. So we drew a lot of people from outside the area. And then we had the open play arcade that was provided by Save Point, who is based in Union Bridge. So that's what all the arcade games were that you saw. We had an independent developer from Baltimore called Boba Studios. You see a lot of their stuff in there as well. They have a game called Squirrely-Roo Rabbit that they're developing, and so they were able to demonstrate that game for anyone who wanted to play it. Check it out. It was really cool. In fact, Carl from DDT, who most of you have met through 1 Million Cups, he had 2 high school interns demonstrating a game that they made for this event that was like a run and gun type first-person shooter, but it was hooked up to their raw spot. So you would see the wheels of the raw spot turning. It was up on a stand, and it was actually thought it was in the game. And so you were there shooting these alien characters in the game, but the raw spot thought all of that was real, which is kind of terrifying when you really start to think about the implications about people playing games and actually having robots doing the thing in real life. But there's also lots of really interesting opportunities there. Anyway, so that was Big Game Fest, and so it's ggfest.org. We had big raffle, prizes like a PS5. We did get all the winners selected for those, and have sent all those winners notifications. We need to now just sort of notify everybody who did win. We'll be putting out a press release soon, talking about who won the different tournaments and stuff, and how many people attended. But I think we can estimate somewhere around 500 people probably attended. We had over 200 ticket sales. But kids 12 and under were all free, so they don't necessarily have tickets. And I think on average, most people came with at least one other person or 2 other people that might not have been counted. So,
And Grant, can I just say kudos to you and to Gabby and to Kim. I've been to events put on by event professionals that weren't run half as well. So for the 3 of you and some volunteers, many of whom were like kids,
including yourself.
Thank you. No problem. But just to be able to execute that level of an event that had so many different components to it, and to have it go off really without a hitch. I'm sure there's things you guys would nitpick apart as running the event, but having it at the Best Western, I think, was really great. And it was just such a good energy, and to see so many of the kids who come to the Good Game on Main were so excited. There's one family that was there literally the entire weekend. They
Yeah.
came every day. So it's just cool to see it starting to pick up steam. And I know it's going to be even bigger and better next
Well,
year.
and I mean, we had vendors that were trying to get hotel rooms and they couldn't get it because the Best Western was booked up. Now, I think it coincided with McDaniel having a family weekend, so probably part of the reason why. But I know there are certainly people who came in and flew in and stayed at the hotel there. And that contributed to why they got packed. But it also speaks to the need for another hotel here in town, because they were talking about, some of the vendors were talking about their stories. One of them stayed at the Boston Inn.
Oh, no.
And they were talking about how the towels had holes in them and there's no hot water. I mean, it was hard. I felt so bad as like a local, Westminster, person trying to like proselytize, come to Westminster, but don't stay at the Boston. But they had no choice because they were out of rooms days in and at Best Western. So, if anyone from the city is watching, we need another hotel. All right.
So going on what Victor was saying, I've been to a lot of video game conventions and all that, like Mag Fest in Baltimore. And it's like a smaller version of that. So put on super well. I was only there for 2 hours, but everything was smooth. I think that was great.
Well, thank you. Well, you made it look like a great event.
It wasn't hard, man. It wasn't hard.
Yeah. Great energy.
Thanks, everybody. Anybody else have any updates? Judith, do you have an update? Nobody else? All right, well, we can wrap it up. Vicky, do you want to send us out? I think we just usually have that.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us this morning, and thank you to Robert Park, the Power of Facing. I definitely am going to go get the free workbook and try it out and give him feedback. I know Judith is too, because I saw her scratching it down. So definitely great to have that as a resource for all of us. Thank you again to Startup Portal for hosting us today, and for Genie Bird for the treats, and American Ice Co Cafe for the coffee. I always want to say go juice because that's what Tina always says. But would encourage, if you are an entrepreneur or even just have an idea and are thinking about wanting to pitch that and get feedback, please go to 1millioncups.com/Westminster and click to apply. And then hopefully you can join us one Wednesday soon and hear your presentation, and we can give you feedback on that. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your week.
Thank you.